Mike, you said last week that from your point of view, the preparation this week would be no different than if the series was 2-2. Do you think that will be the case with this England side? Would the preparation have been any different, having lost the series?
No, absolutely not. I think that they got away and probably played a bit of golf. That's the norm with this England setup. Just relax. I've been studying on Instagram their kind of videos from up in the hills of the Himalayas, up in Dharamsala. They've been running the hills and just getting up to the waterfalls there, which is great to see. It looks a bit choppy, looks a bit chilly. A few bobble hats there out and about with the England team. But I just look at this game. I mean, it's the series is gone, but 3-2 sounds so much better than 4-1. Yeah. I think if they lose heavily here and it's 4-1, we've got to be honest. It's been a really bad winter for the England team. You know, they've won absolutely nothing. You know, the World Cup, very poor. West Indies, white ball series, lost both. They then go to India, they're 1-0 up and they end up losing 4-1. I just think it's a different conversation. And then pressure really starts to build on that T20 World Cup in June. And England will have to find some kind of rhythm of play and get close to winning that event, which they should, because they've got all the tools to do so. But I just think this week, as much as it's, you know, the dead rubber, it's never a dead rubber. There's a huge amount for a lot of these players to play for, particularly the batters. I think it's a good week for the England batting unit because there will be pressure, because Harry Brook comes back in the summer. There's no question about that. So if someone misses out in that first test match starting in July, will it be Jonny Bairstow? Will it be Ben Foakes? Will it be somebody else? We'll have to wait and see. But a few of those players need a few runs. So I think it's quite a good week for the selectors in a way to they won't be saying to the players, by the way, one of you is missing out, but you just know subconsciously as a player that Harry Brook will be coming back in at number 5, and one of the England players this week won't be playing in July.
Mike, interesting you say that about pressure. Do you think there is a lot of pressure now being sort of heaped on this England side to perform, to start winning?
Oh, look, you've got to win. You've got to start winning games of cricket. That's your roles. And I think what this England management do really well is take away the pressure. But fundamentally, you know, Phil, you can have a coach in Baz McCullum and a captain in Ben Stokes say to you in front of the group, just go out and play. We're not putting you under any pressure. You go back into your room and you look at your numbers and you go, oh, I need a score. I need a score because, as I said, Harry Brook is coming back into this England side. This England management for 2 years now, you could argue that they dropped Alex Lees for Ben Duckett, but that was almost like they wanted Ben Duckett in the side and Alex Lees just wasn't playing the style that they wanted at that time. So you could argue that really that wasn't a drop-in. There hasn't really been an England batter that's been dropped. Officially, you've been dropped from the team. Now, someone will be getting dropped for Harry Brook. Harry Brook's definitely going to come back into this team. And I just think it's a good week for the England management and the team because they will know that subconsciously. You know, Ollie Pope's had an incredible innings in that first test. Since then, nothing. Yeah. You know, Ben Duckett has had that incredible innings, but apart from that, not a great deal. And I'm not saying those two are under pressure. I mean, Zach Crawley's had some great starts, but he's not got the 100. You know, all these players that we think, all right, we've got the backing of the coach and the captain, but if Jonny Bairstow gets 150, which, by the way, don't rule him out doing that in his 100th test,
yeah,
and they stick with Ben Foakes, and Johnny says, I'm carrying on in Test cricket, I'm not even indicating that he might be quitting Test match cricket, but he gets to his 100, you never know, mentally he might go, that's me done. But if he gets 100, he's going to play. So where's Harry Brook going to fit in? He's definitely going to come into this England side, so someone will be missing out in July.
On that, do you think Harry Brook has got the talent to be a 3, or do you think that is a waste of his ability?
Well, he tried it. They tried him in the Ashes, and he looked all at sea at 3. He's a 5. You know, he's a 5, 6, maybe 4 in time. But no, I think Harry Brook, we saw that last year with the ball moving around. His technical side is probably not quite there against the quality seamers that they come up against these days to face that new ball. And you'd want him at 5 all day long. He's got such a game to take the opposition down, and he plays spin brilliantly. So he's the number 5 for me. So I'll just keep saying it. Someone's missing out, and it's just a race.
It's quite a crowded middle order, then, isn't it?
It's a race to see who that player is who will miss out in July.
You mentioned the bobble hats that the players have been wearing as they're going for the runs up in the mountains. Do you think the weather is going to have an effect on this match? It's sort of very different style of cricket to some of the games we've seen so far in the series.
I think it's been sleeting up there, hasn't it? You know what I mean? I think the guy said it was they turned up. It's been a lot of rain. I think this Test match they say is going to be affected by the rain, so it's going to be a shortened game. I think that the only thing England have got to think about is, do they play 2 and 2? I think the wicket will turn, just because of subcontinent sort of conditions and what have you. But they might be thinking to themselves, do they give Gus Atkinson a little run out? I don't know. Mark Wood, does he come back in? Do we give Jimmy a little rest? Or are they going, with their best side to get themselves back to 3-2, as we've been talking about? So I think they're the things. I think you still play your 2 spinners, don't you? I think they've deserved it. So they're going to go along there, have a look at the pitch. If it's green and, looks like it's going to zip about a little bit, like it sort of shows. I don't think there's been too many Test matches up there to get too much of a steer on it, has there? But Bumrah comes back, doesn't he? I think everyone's going to be shaking in their boots in the England batting lineup. But it's going to be. Who do you think they're going to pick, Mike? Are they going to stay with the 2 spinners, do you reckon?
Well, fundamentally, I think it'll be a really good pitch. I think the batters should be able to, get decent scores. I can't imagine it's going to be a dust bowl and spitting from ball one. There might be a bit of swing around. I think it's about 12 to 14 degrees. I want to see Gus Atkinson. I mean, I want to see him, but I'm also a bit wary of seeing him because I just think it's so unfair on these players. You look at Ollie Robinson last week. He plays, gets criticised. He looks short of a gallop, understandable. But just haven't played any cricket. He hasn't played any cricket for 5 or 6. Same with Gus Atkinson. You throw him into a Test match. Say, go on, Gus, go and bowl quickly, and he might do for a spell or two. But when you get into the 3rd and 4th spell, understandably, you can see a bit of a drop-off in the intensity because they've not been playing any cricket. I just think England missed a bit of a trick, actually, on this trip by not playing a couple of the bowlers in the A-Tour games, just to give them some overs in the legs. I want to see him, but I'm also a bit wary of seeing him because I just think it's very unfair on a young player. I mean, you go back to when we played, Phil, we probably played too many warm-up games and did too much away from the Test matches, but at least you got a bit of cricket that when you went into a Test match, you were kind of cricket fit. As a bowler, it's not just the bowling, it's standing out in the field. How do you replicate standing out in the field for 6 hours and you have to bowl for what? Maybe an hour of those 6 in your first day back. So, look, I'd go Atkinson and Wood this week. I want to see England with a bit of pace. I think for England to be a team going forward, that they've got to try and find a few new combinations, because pace, as much as it's not everything, it really does unsettle many batting units. And, there's no Stuart Broad now. Obviously, Jimmy's coming towards the back end of his career. How long will he play? England somehow have got to start finding some combinations from what we've been used to over the last 15 years, which has been pretty much always Anderson and Broad, or Broad. I think England have got to start looking at a couple of different combinations.
Yeah. I think the days also, I mean, I've been thinking about this, I think the days of the Jimmy Andersons and the Stuart Broads are gone now, really, for seam and pace bowlers now. I don't think you're going to be seeing these guys first on the team sheet, you know what I mean? When there's a big game, Anderson, Broad, they were always there. I think now it is going to be like a horses for courses. I think the batting unit's going to be pretty stable, as it's shown. But I think the bowlers, and especially the fast bowlers, I think they're just going to rotate now. I don't think there's going to be a run. I don't think there's going to be a 700 Test wickets for a seam bowler ever again, because I just don't think they'll be fit enough to do it.
Yeah, there'll definitely never be another Jimmy, will there? A word about Jonny Bairstow. Obviously, his 100th Test, his 100th cap. I was reading that of the 14 players, I think, who've got to 100 caps, his is the lowest average. He's got the fewest hundreds. But there have been some unbelievable highlights in that career as well. Obviously, he's been keeping as well, which, Alex Stewart got 100 caps and he was keeping for a lot of those matches as well. But it's been a sort of inconsistent career, hasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, but I wouldn't look at his average. I think the impact that he has when he plays is immense. And when you add into that, he's had to keep wicket. When you add into that, he's moved up and down the order. He's never had a set position in the order, so that cannot be easy. Anyone that gets to 100 caps is a legend. To play 100 times in Test match cricket is incredible.
Yeah.
And to think that he's done it, playing the way that he plays, having a kind of change in the order on a regular basis, being in and out of the side. I mean, I didn't even realise he was getting close to 100. When someone said a few weeks ago, Johnny's scored, I went, has he got to 100 Test matches? Because I think he's had a career where there's only been a couple of times, and you mentioned 2022 when he got 600s. There's only been a couple of times when he's really dominated in Test match cricket, and they've been quite short periods. So to think now that he's fought through some adversity, showed a huge amount of resilience, I don't think there's many better players to watch when Johnny's going and he's firing and those eyes are popping out. I think he's an incredible player, and I hope he gets some runs, and I hope he carries on playing Test match cricket, because I do think there's plenty left in his tank. If he has an iffy week, and obviously Harry's coming back, he might be under a huge amount of pressure for his place in the side, and I don't want to see that. And I always look at Bairstow when he's under a bit of gas and there's a bit of pressure and a bit of spotlight on him, more than ever this week when you're in your 100th Test match. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Johnny went and struck 100.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely delighted for him, actually. As you say, 100 Test matches, what an achievement. It really, really is. I think sometimes he's been a victim of his own success in a funny sort of way. You do get these players who, give him the gloves, stick him at 3, give him this role, give him that role, when some guys just sort of plod along in their own, sort of set way of playing, and sometimes they sort of reap the benefits of that. He's always the one that sort of seems to be adaptable and being able to change, and you can get labelled that. But you're right, Mike. I think that some of the best Test match innings I've seen have been from Jonny Bairstow. I have been commentating out of my seat, watching some of these knocks. And the ball just disappearing. I mean, we go back to New Zealand at Trent Bridge and a couple of 3 others, but have been jaw-droppingly just special innings, and I think that when you look back on your career, there are different sorts of hundreds, perhaps, you know what I mean? And you're talking about impact, and I think that is what he has given this England side.
And also, Phil, give me a Jonny Bairstow style mentality.
Yeah,
if I'm picking a team, I want a Jonny in my team.
Yeah,
I want someone that's got a little bit of fight, a little bit of spirit.
A warrior.
At times he's an angry man.
Yeah,
I want that. He gets those eyes going. He gets that body language. He gets his chest out when he storms out to bat. Oh, go on, Johnny. I want that style of cricketer and personality in my side. So I hope this week goes fantastically well for him.